else that either you or the tow truck went between Dighton and the Canton Police Department?
No, sir.
And when you say we, it's yourself and Trooper Proctor, is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, once you arrived at the Canton Police Department, where did the vehicle go?
The vehicle was unloaded and put into a heated sallyport located at the Canton Police Department.
And in reference to the Canton Police Department and putting it in the sallyport, why was it that it was taken to that location?
It's a location that serves as a storage for a vehicle that would suffice for the size of the vehicle. The location is, as it related to the crime that took place was investigated, was in that town. So we utilized their facility. It was also a heated facility to help melt the snow that had been accumulating on the vehicle.
And at some point, as far as some point subsequent to this, did you learn that there are exterior cameras of the Canton Police Department as well as cameras within the Sallyport garage area?
Yes, I did.
And have you reviewed each of those respective cameras prior to your testimony here today?
Yes, I have.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
The Young Jerks, part 2 today. Second episode today. Going to be talking about the Sallyport. We have Video Jesus Abby in the green room. She's ready to go. She's got a whiteboard. I figured we'd open up with a little video from the first trial. Sergeant Bukaki, as we refer to him as, testifying on the stand about the Sallyport video that has come up in the motion to dismiss. We may play more of this. I don't know if tonight or another time, but we're going to be playing a lot of this stuff from the first trial because it was a very telling moment when he got up there, knew everything about this, but then when he gets questioned by the defense, he doesn't know anything. To kick it off tonight, I just want to make sure that you are aware of the stickers. We were doing the sticker contest today, right? And we had the 3M's giveaway. It was a giveaway. It wasn't a contest. It's more like a giveaway today. Whoever gave a donation to the free Karen Reed Defense Fund, the Karen Reed Defense Fund, you could send an email with your screen capture, and we would send you 1 or 2 of the 3M's stickers. That contest is definitely over at this point because we had so many emails. I'm hoping that some people don't get left out. I'm doing it just like I said, first come, first serve. I've already addressed like half of them. I went through the emails. Some people didn't leave their addresses. If you forgot to leave your email address, please, or your mailing address in your email to us, please do respond and send us your mailing address. Everyone that donated will at least get some Young Jerk stickers, which I do have plenty of. If you do want to make a donation tonight to the Karen Reed Defense Fund and you want to get a Young Jerk sticker, just send us the screen capture of the donation, at least $5 to the Karen Reed Defense Fund via email to mjcboston1@yahoo.com. Again, mjcboston1@yahoo.com, or you can send us a message on Facebook or our X Twitter account, either one of those, Young Jerks, and we'll send you out a Young Jerk sticker. Everyone else that has already donated earlier, thank you so much. It was amazing to see. I think we raised over 1,000. I haven't tallied it yet. I haven't even got to address all the envelopes and stick all the stickers in, but I think we ran out. I think we sold out of those. We may have to talk to our moderator and see if we can get more of those printed up. That was such a great fundraiser today. I'm so thankful. That was just to, get $1,000 plus for Karen Reed today. You all are amazing. Thank you so much for doing it. And if you did donate, look for the stickers. You'll see them in the mail probably about, 3 to 5 days, depending. Got to get to the post office and get some stamps now. A lot of stamps. All right, so let's bring up our guest tonight. We have Abby, Video Jesus, here. She's back. I don't know if this is the 3rd or 4th time, but it's more than twice. She's been on I think it's the fourth time. We'll ask her. It's probably the fourth time. She's been on the show. We've been breaking down the video, the Sally Port. I believe she was quoted by Alan Jackson in court recently based on some of the work she's done on the show. I know Olivia Lambeau and some other influential Twitter accounts have been reposting some of her work that she's shown on the show. So I'm excited to have her back, especially since the Sally Port has come into play here with the motion to dismiss. And it's something that we're going to keep talking about, this juror issue and the Sally Port, because it's a big part of why the defense has a stronger hand on the motion to dismiss. Even if Beverly Canone doesn't grant it, we're going to keep bringing it up because I believe that this is the smoking gun. There's so much here, but this is a big part of why Karen should never be found guilty. Karen should have her charges dismissed. But we're going to keep talking about it. And we have an expert, a video expert, goes by Video Jesus on Twitter and YouTube. Make sure you follow her there. She's also got her own videos that she puts out. Her Twitter account is fire. Definitely check her out. Abby, welcome back to the Young Jerks.
Hi, how are you?
How are you doing tonight?
Good. How about yourself?
Good. I'm a little tired, but I'm amped up. I'm like, this is going to be the week ever for Karen Reed and the show and Turtle Boy and just everything that we're doing. I look at the guest list this week and I'm like, holy shit, like we're back. Like this is bigger than ever.
I know. The motion to dismiss was epic.
Yeah. And I'm excited.
What are
I'm
your
excited to
thoughts
have
on
you
it?
here back tonight. And let me fix
Yeah.
my camera a little bit. But how many times have you been on this show now? Do you know?
I think 3 times.
Oh, 3 times. Okay. Well, this
Which
is
I'm so grateful for you inviting me.
So is it the third time or the fourth time? Third time.
This would be the 4th time, I think.
Oh, so it is the fourth time. Yeah. So
Yeah, it
I
is the
was on the
4th
right
time.
track. This would be the fourth time. That's where I think I was going. Yeah. Been on 3 times in the past. This is the fourth time. Fourth time perfect. And you've gotten a lot of people like you. Like they're commenting about you a lot on our videos and with what's going on. Have you gotten a great response coming on the show to talk about this stuff?
Yeah, I have. I've gotten a really good response. And I mean, I know like it's difficult because what we're talking about too, like a lot of the stuff that I've come on the show with, is very kind of high level video. So I'm trying to work on, maybe simplifying it a little bit more, but I think that people are starting to get a good understanding of the video elements that really make up the Sally Port and why certain video files, the proprietary files, are important in this case.
We have something you brought up on the screen. Should I put that up now, do you think?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I kind of switched to just like the file types that we were talking about the other day. As
Awesome.
far as the Lally screenshot, but I also have like a whiteboard. So I just wanted to show this first, just so we can get a good idea of exactly.
This is what Olivia and another kind of bigger Twitter account shared this week. They shared your screen capture, which it's in the video from the court that day.
Yeah, so I think it was day 20 that it was in the video in court. And this is a screen grab. So the last show that we did, I also put this up as well, just to show the files on day 20 that were presented in court, because these are the files, the proprietary files that we're talking about, that the prosecution says they don't have.
Absolutely. I got a little barking going on. We got 2 dogs coming in. We got 2 dogs in the room with me. It's like Dog Central Station over here. I hope people can deal with it. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so just to even just riff off. So like in the motion to dismiss, what they were saying is, let me just turn off my camera because I actually have a whole whiteboard and it's kind of hard to do both. So before I start, do you have any questions or anything like that, or any specific topics that you want to like cover?
No, I'm just gonna let you go right now because I'm dealing with dogs. I'm putting myself on mute. I'm trying to get him to not bark like crazy right now.
All right, so I'm just gonna like hide my screen for a second so I can pull up my my other whiteboard type stuff. So basically, when we were talking about the motion to dismiss, we had a couple different elements that we were talking about that the prosecution so that they didn't have, but we know in court that they had these type of files. So the files that specifically that we're talking about, or that basically that we're referring to, is this exe file. Oh, hold on one second.
I got Charlie in his kennel. I think I got him calmed down too now.
Oh, you got it?
Of course, like we have 3 dogs visiting from 2 different families tonight, staying with us, and the one that is the worst behavior is our own.
Oh God, hold on one second. Let me just I'm sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties.
No.
This was supposed to go smooth. One second. Well, we'll just start with the intro because I think that's probably going to be the best bet anyway. So just as a little bit of explainer, so my handwriting is not super great, so we'll just go from there. So,
It looks good. There's nothing wrong with your handwriting. Better than
my
mine.
handwriting is awful. It's really not that great, but
It's not bad.
yeah. So basically, what we're talking about in this explainer is, hold on. Oh my God, why is this being like that? I'm sorry. Hold on one second.
Don't worry.
Yeah, so just the file types that we'll be talking about are really the ones that the defense doesn't have, but they're the proprietary types for Equivision, which is basically that .exe, that .psx, and that .ps. And so just to overview, so people aren't super confused while we go through this, we can start talking about, again, like the exe first. So when we're talking about, again, the exe file, we're talking about a packaged file. So this file is basically, think of it almost as a program file, but it has, again, when we're talking about this box would be our container. And inside this container would be the encode video codec, which is the H.264, an audio stream, and then the time code, and then the player file. So the exe is important because anybody that doesn't have Equivision, so if you don't have the Equivision player, the player is contained inside this executable file. So everything in this file is wrapped in a nice pretty package with the container, and the container has all of this data in it. And this is really what's important. Even if, for example, it didn't have a hash, like a hash value, or or encryption, or encrypted streams. I call them encrypted streams for like the video and the audio. Even this data inside this file is extremely hard to change. So if they had this original file and we could tell like the original file was from a 24-hour period, this would be really huge. But again, they don't have this magic file either. So this is the exe file. And just to go back, when we did see in court, we saw this file, which highlighted in yellow, which is basically the file that I want to emphasize that, again, is more of the file that was specifically, shown in court where they did have this exe. But I believe that if we look at these other files that go down, we have a .ps file, which I think is, this is from the 28th, and then another exe file, which is from the 29th, but that was from 5 p.m. to 12 a.m. And then we have this other file that's .ps, but it has like this weird extension right here that's a .exe.ps. So that kind of tells me this was altered a bit. Does that make sense so far?
Yes. Yep.
Perfect. Yeah. So then if we go back to so then we can explain. So we already went through the .exe. So if we go back to now, the second file type is basically this PSX file. So this file in general is a file that contains the video, which is an H.264 codec, the audio, which is ACC, the player PSI file, which is basically the container file that points to the player. So basically you can take this whole file. It only has one file that exports, which is a PSX file. And then it also contains the time code. So everything's kind of wrapped up in this pretty little package. And that's a .psx. But this file is actually pretty hard to alter. And it's only hard to alter because everything, so the video, audio, the player database file, and the time code is all in this one container. So trying to keep this container intact with all these other, all these other files makes it very hard to, even if I wanted to replace this encode, so if I wanted to replace the video and the audio, it can get a little wonky just because the PSI file, so that database player file for Equivision is in this container with the time code and the XML. So those two basically, when we talk about that, that's kind of what we're referring to as far as, the two files that actually are kind of a little bit more difficult to, again, alter. But if we talk more again about, for example, if we have this, I'll just call it, hold on. I don't know what is that.
I'm going to read a couple super chats.
Okay, cool. Sorry, while I do this.
Right. Gray Space says, "Hi, Abby. Did you see in Hank's motion? He lists the file names from the screenshot without any extensions, but the newer videos, he includes the .exe. Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that. Did you?
I didn't know. I did not notice that either.
I'll have to take a look at that.
Yeah, I should definitely take a look at it. Sorry, I thought this whole whiteboard thing was going to be a lot easier to do, but now my files are getting all weird.
All right. It's been working good so far. I know it's
It doesn't seem like it's working good. It's kind of a disaster, but
yeah,
hold on 1 second while you read the super chats, I'll try to work this out.
Yeah, it was fine. I think that actually looks like you know what? There was a Venmo. I'll read off the Venmo. I think that's it for super chats right now. I think we're all caught up, and I know what it was. It was a Cash App. I want to thank Michelle L. She sent $25 earlier on the Cash App. She said, for an awesome stream with Nan. She wants stickers as well. I hope that you sent me your mailing address. Can I contact? Yeah, I can. No, actually, it doesn't allow me to write a message. Michelle, I hope you send an email, mjcboston1@yahoo.com. You may have already. I'll look through and see if I got yours. But if you didn't, definitely send an email. Thank you so much, Michelle. But again, we're hoping that the donations go directly. That's the idea of this today, is to go directly to the Karen Reed Defense Fund. If you'd like a Young Jerk sticker, send a donation to the Karen Reed Defense Fund, $5 or more. Email copy of your donation, screen capture, take a picture of it, and send that over to mjcboston1@yahoo.com. How are we doing, Abby?
I think we're doing good. I think we're back on track.
Okay, perfect.
All right, so I'll just get back into it. So the last type of file, which I just wanted to kind of just go over on screen too, because I think it's important, which is the file that I think is altered, is really what we're calling the .ps file. And so this .ps file is important because this basically contains, again, when we're talking about a measured stream of where the audio and video. So this is going to contain the video.
I love the pictures. It helps us. It helps a lot.
I know. I'm trying to I want to make sure I'm doing this correctly because I feel like the whiteboard stuff is good to just go for a good explainer.
Yes.
All right, so sorry about that.
Oh,
I
work.
probably just should have prepared a video ahead of time, but I was just like, oh, this would be fun to do live. But yeah, anyways. So just get back. So this is going to contain, so the .ps file contains audio and the video, and then the audio. But this is the only thing that the .ps will contain. So this is going to be the container. Oh my God. So this is going to be the container. I don't know why this is being so slow. Sorry, but this is the only thing that this contains, which is important because this is what I think the file that was altered. So this is probably definitely the altered file. Because after we have this container, so this again is the H.264 video, and then this is the audio. This is the audio stream. But outside this container is where we talk about the XML, which is the time code, and then the database file. This should be going a lot faster, but I just think my computer is just like not.
It's streaming too. That's a problem sometimes.
Yeah, I think. Well, anyways, we'll just talk about that. So basically, this is kind of the structure of it. So outside the container is really where we have the XML, and then we're going to have that database file. So when we're talking about swapping out streams, like this .ps file right here is going to be the easiest to alter, just because I only have to swap out the H.264 stream here with maybe any other kind of the file types, which would be the MP4. Yeah, I don't think this is working because it's just we're streaming. But anyways, you kind of get the point. Does that make sense?
It does.
I tried. I did try.
Yeah,
I tried
yes,
to do like a
it's easiest
whiteboard
to
thing. I think it's going to be better with just like a separate video.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Just I would leave that up for a little while so people can kind of digest it. So the PS is the easiest one.
Yeah.
To change.
Yeah, because I mean, if we look at the other file types, so the .psx, which is kind of a similar packaging, so that container is a .ps inside. So this is a .ps inside, and then it has that PSI file, and I can even pull up another folder. So I'll share another folder.
PSX has the extra PSI file and the time code.
Correct. Yeah. So that's kind of the interesting part of it. So when we're talking about this too, I'll share the screen too. And so when we're talking about the different files, so this is kind of a mock-up of what the files look like. So we have a PostScript file here, which is the .ps. It's not actually a PostScript file. It just says, when you load it onto Windows, it says PostScript just because of that .ps extension. But this itself is actually like a video file. And then the .ps file, so this would be, so if we look at these two files, just to look at these two, this is basically like the .ps, and this is a database file, and then this is the time code file. So we'll just one folder. So just for demonstration purposes, we'll take all this in here. So this is what these two files kind of look like if we're looking at the .ps file. So this is the data. This is a pointer file. This is the XML file. If we look at the XML file, I don't think it's going to show, that's going up on a different window. But this XML file is going to have a lot of the different information that we need. So this is probably going to be easier to read if I do an MP4. So this is what we call EXFI tool. So this is kind of a good idea of like what metadata looks like. So this tool is called Phil Harvey's tool. You can download it. EXIF tool. I'll post a link on your in the chat too of just where you can download it if you ever really need it. Not that anybody really needs purposes of it. Basically, what this is a command script. So it creates different files that, different output files that you can look at the metadata for. So for example, this one, let me make sure you can still see. It's probably not even showing that in the folder. Yes. I'm just going to do this, present another screen.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's just a lot of.
No, yeah, I'm gonna let you put that up, but I think I'm gonna get up and let Charlie upstairs. I'm gonna step out for like a minute. I'll be right back. But I'm gonna put that on the screen for you, and I'll be right back.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so as everybody's looking at this now, just this is kind of what metadata looks like. So I know a lot of people were interested in the and how metadata looks. So for example, here are a few different what you would typically find in just an MP4 file. And this is probably the easiest type just to show for demonstration purposes. So, we have the file type in MP4, video MP4. We also have, again, like the media data size. So it will show that here. And then we get on to like more interesting stuff, which again is the creation date, the modification date, the duration. And this is really, if we had these magic files, we would be able to see this again in, in an XML form. So you can open up a .ps and look at the XML, which is all the files that we showed that were on the Lally screen were .ps and then a .exe. The .exe is a little tricky to see the metadata on, so you have to actually read that in Equivision. But you can actually read this this type of data as well with a .ps file. So we have all these different source information, the different tags, what the raster size is. So 1980 by 1020. We have the bit rates. So that basically, in a nutshell, the header size, which is basically what the video is going to render out as. And that's pretty standard for, again, security cameras.
This what we're looking at is like the data that we're not getting or the defense isn't getting because the
so this is one part of it. Yeah. So then if you look at,
let me ask you that, because what do you think about the judge? She didn't seem to have any concern about the defense not getting the metadata.
I think it's crazy. I mean, if you don't have any metadata, which again, these are, I guess, going back to my main point of my whiteboard disaster and just trying to like explain metadata.
It was fine. It was good.
It's hard with streaming. Everything on my computer just goes very slow. But the one concerning thing is that she's not concerned about the metadata is because video files can be altered. And you need this type of data, which is like EXIF data, which is basically the file structure data information. And then you also need, again, I'll pull up another type of file that you can, that I'll see if I can open this. And
do you want to bring another file up?
Yeah, so I'm just going to show you what an XML looks like.
Should I remove this one first?
Yeah, remove that one first, and then I'll see if I can pull up.
And we got a super chat from Abacus Flinch, who says, I wonder, was there any other cases out of Canton that needed to provide video from the sallyport taken around the same time frame? Would the video quality be the same? I'm doubtful. I don't think that there's many instances where they seize a car and keep it in the Canton Police sallyport. I just think that this is like one-off. So good question, Abacus. I think the defense should definitely ask, but I feel like it's probably a long shot. Oh, and you got something else up here, Abby? Is that the same
yep,
one?
I'm working on it now. I don't know what this is. I guess I'm just having like really bad luck tonight.
That's all right. We can just talk. We don't have to bring up documents.
Yeah,
Not a
I
problem.
was gonna bring up
Sometimes
what
shit
an
doesn't work.
XML looks
Sometimes
like.
it's my phone calls that don't work. Glenn Lake just became a YouTube member. I think he's been a YouTube member for a while, I would guess. He buys everyone else memberships, but it says he
Yeah.
just became a YouTube member. Thank you so much, Glenn Lake. You're the man. I love Glenn Lake. Thank you, Glenda, too. You said I'm a great anchor in chaos. Thank you, Glenda. I've probably survived a lot of that in my past. And yes. Yeah. Move
Yeah, no,
on.
sorry about that. That didn't work out, but I'll make a full video about it. But
Yeah.
I just wanted to prove, like, we'll really show what the metadata looks like. So I think people are very confused of what metadata is. So if you even look at like an XML, like that's going to have all the time codes. So you can alter an XML file, which is, again, when we talk about things that are very problematic. So if we have an MP4 file or an AVI file, those time codes are actually very easy to alter. But if we have a proprietary file in Equivision, those are a little bit harder to alter, except for the one we call it like the one .ps file, which is probably the easiest of the three to alter. But you don't really know the time code. You don't know the creation date or the modification dates. And even if you were able to change that EXIF data, sometimes you can also go into the XML file and you can see when the actual frames were created. So for example, if I'm filming something and frame A was filmed and it's 30 frames per second, you can kind of see exactly when each frame was created. So that's another thing where, again, if this was altered or if we were exporting something out of After Effects or if we were exporting something out of Premiere, if it would show these simultaneous, again, almost simultaneous exports, which is a little bit different than a live recording. So I think that's really important too, where you need these original files, because if they have those proprietary files, it's off the table because those files aren't, it almost shows intentionality. If I alter an MP4, you're not really going to be able to tell as much as you would a proprietary file. Does that make sense?
There's more data behind it. There's more. I mean, there's a reason for it. That's what they use these for. So they can't be altered and there'd be a record of it, right?
Yeah. And I mean, they're proprietary. So if the defense got one of these .ps, the .psx, or the .exe, they could literally send it over into Equivision, and Equivision would be able to tell you right then and there if that file has been altered. So even what I did with replacing the H.264 stream in the .ps just to get to play in the player, that's a lot different than saying that the video is actually authentic, because you would be able to tell right off the bat. Their engineers would be able to tell, like, hey, this was replaced on this date. The data doesn't look right, because you can alter a file or, replace that H.264 stream, but it's going to look a lot different from what they're used to and seeing in their native code than what I'm doing in FFmpeg to see if the data matches. So I could do my best to replace it, but even if I replaced it, they would be able to tell right away, just because it's not an Equivision file. It's altered.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you want to thinking about inviting some StreamYard calls? You want to take some calls tonight? See what
Yeah,
they have questions for you?
for sure.
Or maybe they just want to thank you. We'll see.
I'm sorry again about the disaster of my whiteboard.
It's fine. You were.
Try.
I liked it. I liked the light whiteboard.
I think that's better just to do on a recording than it is to do live. I was like, oh, this will be so much fun.
Yeah. Oh, it was fine. If people want to call, I'm putting the StreamYard link right now. We're not doing the telephone calls because I'm worried that they might not work. We've had some issues with the phone lines recently. StreamYard always comes in crystal clear. So if you want to call in, hit the StreamYard link and we'll take a couple comments, questions for Abby, whatever you want to do. And you don't have to turn on your camera. If you just want to do audio, you can do that as well. I'm just waiting.
So as far as the sallyport, I'm telling you, I think that's going to go through. And I always said this case is going to end with the sallyport videos. I think if they can get the original files, which they won't have, they either get them, it's going to be proved to be altered, or they don't get them and it's going to get dismissed, because I don't think there's any way that they can continue this case with what happened.
Oh, or I'd say that, or jury tampering. If they can prove jury tampering, game over. We'll see what happens. We did put it's pinned at the top of the chat. If you want to call in, there's a link on StreamYard. You can call in if you have a question or comment for Abby tonight. There's also, I just saw our super chat. I want to read this. Did I miss that one? I guess that wasn't a super chat. I guess that's an old one I saw. Okay, cool. We got law girls not attorney. I think it is. She's calling in. Let's see. What she's got. Hello.
Hey guys, how you doing tonight?
Good.
Good, good. How are you?
I'm awesome. Abby, phenomenal. I am actually using what you have taught to teach my little law girl. Josie is her name. She's a boots on the ground. And so we learned all about the different file types last week, and exe and .ps. Like, so we literally watched your video to learn about that and kind of suss out those sallyport videos, which was, yeah, so we're super thankful for that.
Good.
And yeah, definitely appreciate it. And it's so wild because we know that if the prosecution hands over these files, people like you are going to be able to look at them and go, oh yeah, no, see where this was altered, or like you said, send it into Exacuvision. Is it Exacuvision? The name of the
Equivision.
Equivision. Send it into them, and for sure they're gonna know who touched it, when it was touched. So yeah. Yeah.
I think too, even worst case scenario, again, if we go back to what they already have in place of just the H.264 or the AVI, because we don't really know exactly what the defense has, only that they're not proprietary files. But you can even, with EXIF or FFprobe or FFmpeg, you can go look in and see if those MP4s match the native exports of Equivision too. So I think that would be like the worst case scenario, because hopefully, again, I actually almost want them to get the magic proprietary files, because I think at that point you could just send it in and Equivision would just be like, yeah, this is not real. But even if you can't do that, they don't get them, I think there's still an opportunity to, again, still to debunk the videos, just based on what Equivision typically exports and what the export looks like in the metadata level.
Yeah. I think I struggled with like whether it was a matter of them just being so like inept that they didn't know what they were looking for on the prosecution end. But then when the tech guy came out from Arizona, being like I have somewhat of a technical background and come from a tech family. You picture, the Arizona guy being like, scooch over, let me look and I'll find it. But they wouldn't let him do that. And they knew that was because they couldn't let him do that, because then he would find it and it would be a problem. Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting too, because again, we were just looking at the NVR or DVR, which is more of a hybrid for that situation, because I think it's like the DVR hybrid for network cameras. But it's interesting that they have this 30-day reset, and they also don't have an archive, or now they do have an archive. So this is like the interesting thing. First, they don't have the video files. Then they have the archive files on a server or on a separate hard drive or on a cloud drive. So where are the magic files?
And
Because it seems like they don't even know.
Being a police department, I mean, they have the technology. So you would have to believe that when they were set up with the technology, whoever did that, whoever got them started, had it set to a default to archive somewhere. Like, there's a chance that you're going to catch a crime on a, or, have something that you need to access. So whoever set that up for them would have, it's not this retired detective, whoever that had it on his, hard drive or whatever and clicked and dragged or what. That's not the person that set it up. It was definitely, I would think, a tech person who would know this needs to be backed up somewhere. So it's suspicious all the way around.
What's suspicious is what are they talking about with the click and the click and drag? Like, if this was an archived file, you still have to export it. Unless again, it was like I guess you could drag it from the actual NVR, but this whole click and drag thing, I think is very odd, because you literally have to, if you want to export a clip in Equivision, you have to set the in point, set the out point, and say export. It's not really like a drag and drop type of
Click
thing.
and drag. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's a little suspect to me.
Definitely. Thank you for calling in tonight, Amanda. You have any other final comments or questions?
No, I think that's it. But I just wanted to let Abby know that, we watch, you, Mike, as well, like good, well-rounded. We've watched Nan on your show, and but Abby, like, I just wanted to let you know that it was easy to take what you were teaching, and even, considering, like, when I listened to Jessica Hyde, I really didn't understand what she was saying, and I wouldn't as a jury person, but when I was listening to you, I was able to
Okay.
understand it. And my daughter was, she's 15. She was able to understand it too. So that's really what they need in 2.0, is to have somebody like you that can explain, like the container, what it's held in, having that built-in feature, to be able to play the file. So definitely something for the defense to keep in mind. Looking at you and how you explain things was just fantastic. So I wanted to thank you for that.
Oh yeah, no, thank you. Thanks for I'm glad I wasn't confusing too many people, because I think most of the comments are pretty good, again, with just not being super confused, but I know it's high level video stuff, so it can get a little.
Oh, I think you underestimate. You've done a good job. You've made it something that is complex, and I can understand it. Like, I'm starting to absorb a lot of this from you. So I agree 100% with Amanda on that. You've done a great job. We have another call here from Kyle. Let's see what Kyle's got to say. Kyle, how you doing?
Hey, oh, good. Mike, Abby, how you doing? Abby, I really appreciate your technique. I've tried to explain things like this to my chief and stuff in the past, and he was to the point where he kept saying, "Help me understand." And I said, "Well, I would if I could, chief." But background: 31 years Dallas Fire, spec ops, lots of wrecks, stuff like that. So I got involved in this real neutral. Day one, they lost me when they started describing injuries. But when we get into the metadata stuff, my last 7 years, I was on staff of the DHS division of our department. And so I pulled a lot of video files and audio files, data, AVL, stuff like that. And you were talking about XML. So that system uses XML as opposed to like a SQL.
Well, so no, the XML file basically is just another data file, and that XML basically tells you kind of like what I said about the EXIF. It's like kind of like that tool, but it's very, very long. It just has all the encoding and decoding information in the XML, but it also carries the time code. So, for example, if you have the .ps, it will have the XML will have the time code. So if you even remove the XML out of the folder and you play it in Equivision, it will just play without a time code, or it will play with the camera time code and not the time code that Equivision exports. So that's a way to get around the time code too. We're talking about like those time code jumps, or if we're talking about restructuring a sequence. And if we do something like an MP4, we can just take that XML and, change and alter the data a little bit, and we can change the time code. So that's why when these time codes are outside that container, it's problematic in a sense that you can still alter the file because all of these things are outside the container. So you have to basically take it out of the container, which changes the container. Does that make sense?
It does. Everything we had in Dallas was, you know, you had SQL logs in the background, and this is one of the things that kind of bugged me about the, you know, about the whole thing not existing. Because even if you take the files off the system, when I started, we had a 30-day retention thing, and that harkened back from the analog days when you had physical tapes and things that had to be degaussed and rerun every 30 days. And then I got it moved up to a year, and my chief, because we had some kind of shenanigans going along with the PD side and everything like that. Anything that was what he called weird, I would pull as a matter of fact and archive it, and I would have to go and prepare to prove it up in a depot and or affidavit. We had an entire shell full of HDDs and SDDs. Or SSDs rather, I'm sorry. And
like the drives.
How long ago did you change it to a year? Like when was that change from 30 days to a year? Give us a time frame. Year, like
2015.
Okay. So basically
2016, somewhere there. Yeah.
More than 10 years ago, you guys updated to 1 year.
Right. Because we were completely digital. Our CAD system had, moved to a Windows base versus the Unix base, and all the DAT tapes and actual physical magnetic tapes and stuff like that were long since replaced. And it took them a couple of years, me squawking and screaming to get the retention file up to about a year. And I finally got, that PD, and I got some of the CIS folks to get on board with me. And so we got the retention moved up to a year. But my point was, what was bugging me about all this was no metadata. Well, you can pull those files. You can just eradicate the files, and the activity log and user log is still going to be there.
Yeah.
And like for instance, if I was going to alter that, I would have to write a job in SQL to drop rows 1545 through 17,000, whatever I had to do. And that in itself would leave an activity log activity. So, so who accessed it, when it was accessed, and what was done should have remained regardless of what happened to the overwrite.
I think that's why they don't want to show the metadata, right?
Yeah, they don't want to. That's why they don't want to show it.
Well, I think somebody with sysadmin access got in there and just dropped a bunch of tables or rows, at least. Does that sound right, Abby? I mean,
yeah, I mean, and it's interesting because again, so this is also, we have to think about that the NVR is like an 8 terabyte drive. So why do you have a 30-day rewrite on an 8 terabyte drive? And that's again more of like your recording drive. So if you wanted to, again, you'd have a separate server drive, because it's linked to, obviously it's linked to a server. So then you'd have like, a separate server drive that you could like archive things to. But if you're doing it for a case, which I think is the most important thing, is that this is like a criminal murder trial. Like, why wouldn't you literally save these files to like not even just we already know that it was, again, in the Lally, screenshot. So they had this at some time, but like, why wouldn't you even save it like in the server drives? I think it's just very odd.
Well, yeah, and there should also be, like I said, we had a reporting server also, which basically mirrored everything. So even if you were overwriting, even if you were overwriting the original server, the reporting server was going to store it indefinitely. And we had to, I had a lot of federal interactions, DHS, NSA, stuff like that too, some Secret Service. And nice. I answered only to my assistant chief, and the assistant chief was like, dude, if this looks weird, just pull it, archive it, prep it. And that was just a matter of course. And that was before anything even came down. And that policy saved our butts more times than I can imagine. Where PD was getting dinged all the time for losing air quotes, losing evidence that I had it because he'd have me pull police stuff too. So,
Thank you for calling in tonight,
And that's
Kyle.
really
yes,
interesting
sir.
for just the chain of custody type of thing, just to get his perspective on as well.
Yeah, it was very good. Some people were complaining about the fan. they thought I was hypnotized. He was a good call though. Very good call. Thank you
Yeah.
for calling, Kyle. You had a lot of knowledge. He's on the job. It's wild to hear someone who actually has been doing it, and to find out that they changed it 10 years ago from 30 days to a year. That was. Thank you for calling in, Kyle. We also have myself, who has been waiting in the green room. Let's bring them up and see if they're ready to speak. Looks like they just put themselves on unmute. Myself, what do you have for us tonight?
Hi, Mike. Hi, Abby.
Hi.
My
Hello.
name is Marta, and I'm from Poland.
Oh, hi, Martha from Poland.
Hi.
How are things going in Europe? I'm very worried for you all.
It's good. I'm from Poland, but I live in Scotland, UK. But media is blowing it all up more than it actually is bad, in my opinion. So, if you're watching mainstream media, you might be a bit misinformed about everything going on. It's not bad here.
Good. So what do you have for us tonight?
So Abby, I'm amazed. I've started watching actually the one of the older episodes, and then I saw that you are live, so I jumped straight into here because like all of the technical stuff, like for me is I just don't get it all. However, there's like the codes and all of that, like what you showed on the screen with that means it was created then, edited then. It literally, I can look at it and I just don't understand that. But what I wanted to say is like, to me, what Hank said, I think it was during the last hearing, that we can't trust anything that the defense will provide us all of the information in regards to the ARCA. How can the defense and Karen trust after all of that with those videos, what you showed in the beginning, that they had it? They showed it on the screen during the first trial that they had those files. How is it that they are just turning it over?
Yeah, and I think that's a major question. And I think that for the motion to dismiss, it's why I think it's a very strong argument, because they did, again, have these files at one point. So where did they go? They either don't want to hand them over because there's actual metadata in them that could literally dismiss the whole case, or they, again, don't have them. They deleted them on purpose. So I think I think this case is going to begin and end. It's going to end with the sallyport.
Because Abby, with those, what you were trying to explain with the exe file, exe file, and whatever the other one was PS or whatever, do all of them automatically have metadata, or how does it work? Which files actually have metadata?
So all the files technically have metadata, but the proprietary metadata that's actually needed, so the data that you really can't alter, is in those proprietary formats. And really the proprietary formats are in a first export. So when we talk about like a first export of an exe and a first export of a .psx, just because those files I would trust a little bit more with them not being tampered with than, again, like a .ps, because all of that other information lives outside the container. So when the information lives outside the container, to really replace a file inside the container and replace those database files, it can get very tricky and it will just crash the player. But again, if I altered a file and I brought it in, if I altered a .ps and I brought it into Equivision and I exported it out as a .exe, I could still play it in Equivision, but if I try to authenticate it, it will crash the system. So I think, again, when we're talking about the proprietary data, that really is going to come in with the program's code of how it encodes the actual video, which is really what's needed. So how it processes the video, how it naturally encodes the video, because how it naturally encodes it is going to be a lot different than if I use a separate program like FFmpeg and I force encode a different file to replace the original. It's going to look a lot different. It might still play in that player, but it's not going to authenticate. So anytime that you have like not an authenticated file and you try to authenticate it within that player, it will crash it, which is why I think, again, they don't want to hand over those proprietary types. And also, I mean, again, engineers, not just video professionals, but engineers over at that, again, that Equivision would be able to tell like, hey, this is how it should look and this is how it looks. So it's almost kind of like when we're talking about even just other data in the case where we don't have hash values or we don't have like the encryptions and we can't tell what's real and what's not real because we don't have that data there. So, I mean, I think even if, again, those proprietary files didn't have a hash value or an encryption, I think that you could still get some good data from that just from the proprietary type. But I would say that what was played in court probably wasn't hash authenticated. Like had any hash values to it, wasn't encrypted.
Okay, so basically if they hand it in the wrong format, the defense is not going to be able to get any of that background information. Am I understanding that correctly?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so unless it's those three types of proprietary files, the other files like the MP4, the AVI, the .mov, those files there's no metadata that's important there that they could, I mean, sure, they could probably run it by an encoding expert. And again, there's probably little markers in there of just like how the video is encoded that you could kind of tell, and at least from a reasonable doubt that the file was tampered with. But if you had those proprietary type files, that's the golden nugget. Like that's the golden ticket to the Willy Wonka
Would
factory.
they be able to tell when it was created in that format?
Yes.
So that could be good, couldn't it? Because then they would say, okay, we saw that it was downloaded. It was on that computer, on that screen in 2023 with a date of 2023. So if since then something would be tampered with or changed, then they would be able to see it, no?
You'd have to see the file though. So when we talk about even the Lally screen, which is why I don't really put a lot of emphasis on the modification dates on the Lally files, just because when we're talking about like the modification dates, if I have a video file, for example, on my desktop and I drag it to a separate hard drive, the modification dates is going to reflect when I dragged over the file, not exactly when I modified it or when the date was added, which is actually sometimes the file in Windows might do that, especially the date created. But the only problem with it, we didn't even see that on the screen either way. But it's hard you'd actually have to have the file to see, again, within the actual metadata, because we talk about like the file structure and then there's the metadata of the file. So there's a lot of different types of metadata in video, but it's good to have both of those just so you can, kind of compare and contrast, again, like what the file looks like, the file types with the EXIF data, the XML data, make sure that it matches. So I think that too, it's a little problematic because when Auntie Bev says, oh, well, she's not concerned about the metadata of the video, like that's actually really important because data you can't alter. You can manipulate video. And from my experience of just the camera, it looks manipulated. I bought the camera, everything I saw from the camera, the recording settings, and even just playing around with the file structures, the sallyport looks definitely cooked.
That's like, I am a bit of a true crime junkie. Well, I became since Johnny Depp trial. That was the first trial I watched and I just got lost. And to me, it's such an amazing concept that you've got it all public in most cases.
Yeah. Because
in Poland, you don't even have an access to the courtroom unless you are a party or a witness. So I can even go as a member of the public to the case that I'm not in any way connected to watch or listen to. I've got that plus side that I saw a little bit of it because I worked for a few years as a probation officer in a family and juvenile court. So I did see that side of the things, how it all plays out. Of course, we don't have a jury system. We have a judge system, which, to be honest, I'm not bashing. I know you all say that your system is closest to the best and to most ideal with the juries. But I'm sorry, watching so many trials that I was like, how?
I don't
And
think it's the
Karen,
best. I don't think it's the best. It's
I
funny
don't think
though,
it's
'cause you say
either.
because it's wild to me that the feds don't allow cameras in, but they sometimes apparently they do now. It's a new thing that they're sometimes allowing cameras in, but they at least let people go in and watch it. It's just that's wild to me that you don't get that in Poland. I want to thank you
no,
so much for calling tonight, Martha. You might be
thank.
our first Poland call. Polish call. Yeah.
I
I
called
love it.
once to Maza. I called once to Maza before, but I think I'm first time with you because you usually have the phone, and to me to call you, I would pay fortune.
Oh, well, I'm glad you got in tonight on StreamYard. This is what's nice about StreamYard. I don't want anyone spending a fortune to call us.
Thank you so much. And Mike, I just want to say huge thank you. I hope for speaking out and for being here and doing what you're doing. It reached international audience. There are Polish podcasts that talk about Karen Reed case as well. The True Crime Polish podcast that analyze that case as well. So it honestly reached the world, and I hope she prevails because it's just a disgrace and miscarriage of justice in all angles.
Absolutely. Thank you for calling, Martha. Thank you so much for
Thank
reaching out.
you. Have a
great night.
lovely evening. I'm always in a chat, and I'm not always, well, I'm always watching. I'm not always in a chat, but sometimes I do appear there.
Now I know who you are. You, me, myself in the chat. Is that your
Yes.
perfect? I'll be looking for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Abby. And
Thank
free Karen Reed.
Read, Karen, read indeed, and please call again. That was a great call. We got some great calls. We also have Cy of the Beverly, who's he's waiting to get in as well, or they are waiting. I don't know. Man, I always say he, but a lot of times it's a she. So let's bring up Cy of the Beverly and see if they're ready to speak. Hello.
Hi, Mike. Can you hear
Hi.
me?
Yeah, we can. Who's this?
Hi.
My name's Dee,
Dee?
but I go under side. Yeah, Dee. I go under side of the Beverly. I took my inspiration from Runkle of the Bailey.
Oh, awesome. They love him. Runkle of the Bailey. We love Runkle. I know. I should have asked him of the Bailey. What's that about? I know Runkle comes from his last name, but what's the of the Bailey? Runkle of the Bailey.
I'm not quite sure. I'm a relative new fan of his. I haven't really gotten a chance to go into a lot of his history, but
We'll have to
I
ask.
love him.
That's great. That's a great name to come off of. Cy of the Beverly. So, what do you have for us tonight, Dee? Do you have any comments or questions for Abby?
So Abby, in doing your video and how you deconstruct a video and all of that, have you worked for a company that does that, or do you do that as a hobby?
No, so I actually used to work for Avid Technologies. So it's a non-linear editing software program. So it's motion picture houses typically use Avid. There's a lot of networks that use Avid. So if you think of like a Premiere or an After Effects, Avid's another editing program. So I used to work for an editing program doing technical troubleshooting for Media Composer, which is the editing software, and then their shared storage as well.
Okay. Did they hold any type of certifications, like ISO certifications or anything like that?
They do have some different certifications. So ACS Avid Customer Service Representative, so ACSR Master Certified, and so they have one for Media Composer. They also have one for the shared storage system, Interplay, which is basically the client manager software that goes along with Avid as well. So they do have like different certifications like that for video. But I'm also certified in
Mhm.
ACSR. I'm certified in like I have Premiere certificates. I have also certificates in like Cinema 4D. What else?
Okay.
I
What
have a
I
couple. I have like a whole bunch of them. But
what
just as far as the technical
um,
troubleshooting, mostly just Avid and Premiere I do troubleshooting for. And then I do it again
yeah.
for client services as well, like just freelance
Well,
stuff.
I was a quality manager, quality assurance manager, and we had a quality assurance program that had written procedures. And I'm pretty damn sure that Canton PD has they have to have a quality program in place to hold their accreditation as a police, you know, as a police thing. But quality assurance programs have record retention policies.
Hmm.
And didn't Canton PD just have an audit recently?
It's in the middle. They're not done with it. It's
Yeah.
happening right
Not
now.
done with it. But I would be really curious to see what they're telling the auditors as far as what their record retention is on their sallyport video.
Exactly. You know what would be great to see too is when you mentioned policy and procedures, everybody has them, right? But so often what
Right.
you find
Like,
is that certain organizations have policies and procedures on paper, but they're only on paper because they don't actually enforce them or follow them. So it'd be
Right.
interesting to see what they actually do compared to what the policy and procedures say, you know? So that's a great
Exactly.
point. That is a great point.
I just the level of pulling evidence out from under the whale turds, I mean, it's just, how do they even keep operating if this is how they run their PD, which is like nowhere else in the entire world,
Absolutely.
I
you know?
Yeah. It's become a campaign issue in the select board election that's happening, Ken, right now. For an incumbent, John Conley, his challenger
Hmm.
has brought up all of this. Her latest video, it's on her website. We're going to be covering that later on this week, maybe a couple times on the show. What's going on in Canton with that select board election, because that's
Yeah.
becoming a big issue. This is all what you're mentioning. It's definitely becoming a political issue in the town of Canton, at least.
mean
So
that should
I
be.
think sit there the meetings,
yeah,
the 3-2.
yeah,
That's
it's going to
ridiculous
be
too.
interesting to see too what you brought up on the audit. I can't wait to see what happens on that audit. See what they find.
Right. I'd love for AJ and the dream team to have a copy of that audit and just slap it into Beverly's face and say, "No, judge, this is what they're supposed to be doing." And, it's so frustrating. It's
Keep
like
your
I love
fingers closed.
listening.
Yeah,
I love following everyone who comments on this case, all the lawyers, you know, and it's, yeah, that's the right thing. That's what should be happening. And then Jim, the clerk, calls, order in the court, and it's she does exactly the opposite of what every single lawyer who watches this trial says should be happening. It is just, oh, it's frustrating.
definitely.
I mean, I just feel
Def-
so bad for Karen, her family, and even John and his family, in a way, being bamboozled by, certain people, certain players in this little dumb game. It's just, if I lived there or been, involved in any of this, my head would have exploded. I'd be sitting in jail by now.
No, we don't want
There's no
that.
way I could keep my
Yeah.
calm like that, like they
Yeah.
do.
Thank you for calling, D. It's I think one thing Karen has going for her this weekend that she's happy about is the money that was just raised this weekend. A bunch of shows. Her birthday, there were fundraisers all weekend. Mazza Media raised a lot of money the other night. We raised a good amount of money today with Nan. There's been dinner fundraisers. So I think
That's
Karen has
amazing.
all of us behind her. I think that's what keeps her going.
That's amazing. Can I say one thing real quick? I
Yes.
wish they would get. I wish they would get a blood spatter expert and evaluate his clothes and run some tests to see if his clothes have been washed. Other than that, they need a blood spatter expert to show that he was vertical after, whatever happened to him happened to him. But
I wouldn't doubt. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it's on their list. But the
Yeah.
Yeah.
problem with the experts, and I've been, there's a super chat comment that I'm going to post in a minute about hiring a police procedure expert. The biggest
Exactly.
issue
Yeah.
Karen has is the cost. These experts, every single one of them, costs a
Mhm.
lot of money to fly them out, to
Well,
house them. So we need to raise more
it's
money. I mean, that's the name of the game
after
here. Thank you for calling
after
in,
the
Dee.
interview. Can I say one more thing? After
Uh,
I'm sorry, but
you said
after
that last time. You said that last
I
time.
I
You're worse
know,
than
but
me.
I'm never
You're
gonna
worse
talk
than
to
me.
you guys.
Go ahead. Go.
Okay. After the interview with Ronnie, the the their entire defense has to be aimed at the jury. It has to be dumbed down. I hate to say it, but it has to be dumbed down and aimed at the jury, not the judge, not the prosecution, not anything else. It has to be dumbed down and aimed at that jury.
I think I'm gonna just draw a bunch of pictures. I mean, I was unsuccessful at drawing a picture tonight live, but I'm just gonna draw like a bunch of pictures to explain the Sally Port. Maybe they can be used.
D-Lock,
Thank you guys.
thank you.
Maybe
Have a
some
good
stick
night.
figures.
Love you. Bye.
We get draw some pictures. Like a
Well, I didn't draw
children's
them.
book. Like a children's book, like Dr. Seuss.
I think I'm gonna do that.
I ate green eggs or whatever, green ham.
I think maybe I'll try. I'll try to do maybe some little hand drawing.
Yeah. It's funny. My phone is ringing off the hook right now because people think I'm taking phone calls. I am. I'm doing it on StreamYard tonight. We're not taking them on the cell phone. I don't trust the cell phone. I know they're trying to get into the show because it's the same number. It's calling over and over again. Please, it's pinned in the super chat, in the YouTube chat at the top. If you want to get through tonight, hit the StreamYard link. We're doing StreamYard calls. I've had some issues on the cell phone reception, so we're going to stick with StreamYard tonight. If you want to call in, you don't have to show your face. You can do audio only. It's pinned in the chat, in the YouTube chat. If you want to call in, hit the StreamYard link. I got a couple super chats I want to read. Here's one from Lara, not Croft, not Lara Croft. Lara, not Croft. She said $20. Thank you so much, Lara. She says, in very basic terms, is not having metadata like opening a sealed evidence bag and resealing it without signing the new seal. So you can tell me it's been changed, but not who changed it until you get the hidden video surveillance.
In a nutshell. Yeah. That's basically, after all the technical jargon that I have been spewing all night, that's basically kind of what it is.
Excellent. Great super chat.
Great.
Thank you so much, Lara. We got Alicia and Jeremy in standby here. We're going to take quick calls. I want to ask that people make their comments quickly, questions quickly, and not have like 4 of them. You just ask them quickly. Let's go with Alicia first. Alicia, we're going to bring you up on the screen first. Alicia, how you doing tonight?
Hey, good. How are y'all?
Awesome. How you all doing?
Doing good. I'm calling from Louisiana.
Excellent. We love Louisiana. What do
Abby,
you have?
we appreciate you so much. You brought so much clarity onto so much that we had a hunch on and we thought was what was going on, but you brought a lot of clarity to the videos, and I really appreciate all that you've done to try and explain everything to us.
I think you've left her speechless. She's
Oh no, I was like, I didn't know if you were, because my audio just dropped out for a second. No, thank you so much. I'm glad that, I brought a little bit of clarity. Hopefully, I think it's easy to say, again, when you're like, oh, this is edited, but when you can prove it's edited or that it's very likely to be edited, because, again, you have some artifacts that make sense, some that don't. How was it produced? How was it inverted? Was it flipped back and forth? I think that that's really where we're talking and we need more clarity on. So I'm glad that I could at least, give some information of how it was made and why the different file types in more technical terms were, or could have been modified.
Yeah, for sure. And I really hope that whoever they bring to explain some of this to the jury will be able to communicate that, and surely they will, because it's such a point that needs to be very clear to this jury, along with so many others. But to me, it is one of the biggest hitters in this case. Like, how can you depend upon information that is going to potentially send this woman to prison if you can't verify where it came from? It's absolutely ridiculous.
Crazy.
Mike, I just absolutely adore you, adore your show. I'm here every time that you're on, and I love how much effort you and the whole entire community on YouTube has brought so many amazing guests, and as well as your own commentary, just to keep us up to date. So big prayers for Karen and for her entire team, that literally Godspeed to them, that God will give them favor when they enter that courtroom.
I think the audience is noticing me blushing. Thank you so much, Alicia.
Ah, absolutely. Well,
I
listen.
was blushing with your comment too.
Oh, well, look, I'm sure I'm just one of thousands that think the same thing. So I appreciate y'all taking the call. I'm glad I got to express my gratitude to y'all. And we're going to just hold Karen up and continue to keep the faith.
Definitely. Thank you so much for calling. Please
Awesome.
call again.
Absolutely. Y'all have a good one.
You
too.
too.
Bye-bye.
I know. We love our callers. He is so nice.
Oh, she was so nice.
Louisiana.
My audio cut out for a second. I was like, oh my gosh, am I missing something? Like, because there was like a silent, you looked like you were listening. I was like, oh God, I think my audio just cut out.
I love when she says y'all.
Y'all, I love that. I'm from Ohio, so we don't really say y'all, but some people say y'all. So it's like,
I've been picking it up. It's funny. I use it on the show now, and I should use it because I'm from Massachusetts. We don't talk like that, but I'm starting to because of our callers. Y'all, I love it. I love it. Y'all, I probably don't say it right. That was a good call.
That was a good call.
Yeah, let's try Jeremy now. We got a Jeremy. And again, if you want to call in tonight, it's pinned at the top of the YouTube chat right now. StreamYard, just hit the link and wait until we call you up. We're going to bring up Jeremy right now. Jeremy, how you doing tonight?
Hey, guys. Doing well. How are you?
Good. You've called before if it's the same Jeremy, I'm thinking, right?
Yep, from Sacramento. And
Yes.
by the way, so I went to college in Oklahoma and lived there for 10 years. And an Oklahoma friend told me, Y'allins is Ewins plus 3.
I don't even know.
So,
That's funny. Did you see any Oklahoma wrestlers? They have pretty good wrestling out there. Oklahoma State,
that's what I heard.
University. John Smith.
Actually, so interestingly enough, when I was there, I followed the Oklahoma Sooners college football.
Oh, yeah.
And the coolest thing ever was actually getting to see Adrian Peterson play as a phenomenal college football player, and then see him get picked up by the NFL, and now he is phenomenal guy. But being able to
he crushed me in the fantasy league this year. I don't like him.
Well, so, to be fair, I don't know.
Next time I'll have to have him on my team.
Yeah.
To be fair, I haven't followed him since I left there, but other than in the news. But I was going to say, Abby, I'm not sure if you noticed, I had posted on Twitter. So during the week, I did used Python and did a forensic analysis of the video. I know that you already like pretty much did a phenomenal job of saying, yeah, this video definitely has some sort of masking on it or a blurring effect. But I just tagged you on it. It was from a couple days ago, but
Oh,
basically, so I did it. What it did, it created a heat map. So it now analyzes frame by frame. So it just shows you
yeah.
any changes in frames. And what's interesting is that, and then I also did one. So I did one with normal color, but then I also did one just in inverse color, but with the heat map overlay, and you can clearly see the so the you know how so they've inverted the video, right? And then you can literally see a black mask covering the out the sallyport door, because when those people are walking in and out of the sallyport, their heads are underneath the masking.
Yes. I haven't actually tried that. Can we DM me? I would love to like chat if you have time this week.
Oh yeah, sure, I will. But
That's
yeah, I just
fascinating.
but I'm so earlier today I happened to see someone else on Twitter had posted Alan Jackson's um, cross interrogation of Trooper Proctor, right? And his
Mhm.
specifically on asking when he got the sallyport video, and of course he's hemming and hawing, and I from Trooper, what was it, Tully, and then he mentioned taking it to his desk, and and Alan Jackson asks him what color if you notice the timestamp was inverted, and he said the color was yellow, but that it was the timestamp was, he said, obviously we don't know if he's just coming up with this on the fly, but because he
Yeah.
wasn't prepared, obviously. But he's like, well, it was the normal, or no, he said it was the inverse orientation, but the timestamp was flipped and it was yellow, blah blah blah. But it was like, yeah. So, which obviously we know a big problem is that nobody wants to admit. It's like, oh well, okay, so he got it from Tully, and then, well, where'd Tully get it from? Well, he got it from retired Chief Berkowitz, and then it's like, okay, well,
Yeah, who's
conveniently
now
enough,
dead.
that guy, yeah,
Blame it on the
exactly.
dead guy. Blame it on the dead guy, Jeremy. I want to thank you for calling from
Yep.
Sacramento. What I just
Yeah.
realized is your friend there that he retired in 2016 or 17. I was wrong. It's a different player. I'm getting
Oh,
confused with.
that's the
He
other
didn't
thing.
ruin. Yeah.
You know what's funny? Yeah, that's so true. There's a lot of players with the same name, but
Yeah. I don't follow it that much except when they beat me up in fantasy football.
that's funny. That's awesome.
Because it kills me because it's family members. It's like the young kids in the family. I'm the old man in the fantasy league. I got to do better next year.
That's so funny. I having small kids, I rarely have time to do stuff like that. I'll basically check the headlines real quick so that my friends will think that I watch sports, but really I just watch the headlines.
I've watched the Super Bowl. That's like it. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Why watch the run up to it where you can just watch the season finale?
exactly. Yeah,
But
especially now with Karen Reed, I have no time for anything else. I don't even know what's going on in the rest of the world with foreign countries and all this other stuff going on. I'm like, I don't really know. But I really appreciate you calling in again, Jeremy from
Yep.
Sacramento. Do you have
Yep.
any last comments, Abby or Jeremy?
I just would love for you to send me on Twitter a DM of the Python script that you used.
Oh yeah. So what's funny? I actually had asked. So I had asked ChatGPT about it, and I saw that it was, and I uploaded the video, and then I saw it was analyzing, but then there was a drop down, and I expanded it, and it's that Python script. So then I start asking, well, can you teach me how to do it? So it's like, oh yeah, open CV in it, and I'll definitely show post it paste it to you in DMs. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, ChatGPT is actually pretty good for coding. Like you don't really have to know a whole lot about like Python or JavaScript or even, like basic command prompts. And if you just ask ChatGPT, I mean, again, sometimes it's wrong, but it actually does give pretty good coding. It's not bad.
Well, yeah, the funny thing is, it gives you the script, you run it, you get an error, you paste the error back in, and then it says, "Oh,
Yeah.
of course, we accidentally did this," and then it gives you the fix.
I had to do that like when I was trying to again replace the H.264 file in the from the MP4 to the .ps file, and I kept running into some, like a few different things. I was like, why is this not working? And then I had to chat GPT a few of it.
The
So
thing
yeah,
that
it's
cracks
very
me up
cool.
about the, that it's designed to try to keep you engaged, right? Because it always ends by asking, like, "So, what'd you think about that?" Or,
Did it
or
work?
"What else do you want to know?" But it also will say, "Oh, you're absolutely right. It was my mistake. You're so," it's like, I see what's going on here.
Yeah, it just wants you to keep asking. Get a
But
higher pro plan.
But
Yep.
yeah, like the
Just like
previous caller,
Facebook.
you guys are great. You guys are great. You do a good show. All smiles. But
Thank you
okay,
so much, Jeremy.
yeah, no problem. I'll let you go. Thanks.
Have a great night.
You
Jeremy from
too.
Sacramento. Thank you so much for calling. Please call again. I like his calls. He makes some good calls. Just got a Venmo donation from Melanie R. She says, peace, love, prayer. She's watching us. Thank you so much, Melanie R. Really appreciate that. She sent $25 on Venmo.
Oh,
You
awesome.
rule. Really appreciate that. We're taking phone calls tonight via StreamYard. I'm going to post it back up there. If you want to call, check the StreamYard, the YouTube chat right now, and you can click on the link, and we'll take your call through StreamYard right now. Abby, is there anything that we didn't kind of cover tonight that we wanted to mention? Anything? I think especially related to even like what happened in court this week.
Yeah, so I know there was another motion that came out after the motion to dismiss, right? So I guess that am I understanding this correctly that the prosecution is now saying that they're going to hand over files now,
Yes,
or
they're going to hand over video files, but did no mention of any metadata. Apparently, there's an agreement with the defense, but I don't know. It didn't sound like there was any metadata. Who knows? Maybe they are doing the metadata, but you wouldn't think that from what the judge released. I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see. I'm so excited. I think it's gonna get dismissed. I mean, I know there's like a little bit of a pause until they get these videos, but I'm excited to see what videos they get, because it's probably gonna be the same thing that they already have.
Yeah.
Of how they just came to be magically.
Yep. Yep. It's a super chat that came in. They said from Proctor's Hard Time into Big House, sent $10. Thank you.
I like that.
He says, Mike, can you suggest to the defense that they get a cop expert on normal investigation steps and evidence chain and why they are crucial, including video chain? The last jury was clueless and didn't care. I mean, I've said it on the show so many times now. I know that they watch. So, and I know that Betterow was on here and I said it in front of him multiple times. So I don't think I need to suggest anything to them. I think I've suggested it on the show. I think they're legal experts. They know a lot more than I do about how to defend somebody in a criminal, case like this. So I'm going to leave it to them. I don't really bug them or communicate with them like that at all. I think they know. And I think that, again, I'm going to say this. If people really want to help with other expert witnesses, I heard another one suggested today, raise money, send donations, because that's what it's about. Karen Reed, I have a feeling, doesn't have enough defense witnesses, enough legal experts, enough expert testimony. She can't afford it. You know how much it costs to bring out these people and fly them out and get them a hotel and pay for their lunch, pay for their Uber, pay for their time. It's a lot of money. This is what the fundraising is about, is to get them these experts that can testify. And I hope they do. I really hope they have someone on, standard procedures and policies for police. I think that is actually one of the best experts that they can get. But again, I think they're going to make the decisions. This is, they're probably on a budget. I have a feeling they're on a budget on this stuff. Unfortunately.
I really think they should get experts again, like video experts for the sallyport, because I do think it's going to end with that. Because even if you do, I think it'd be awesome to have like more of, police procedures, chain of custody for video. But again, they're just going to do what they did last time. Oh, it was a mistake. Oh, it was an accident. This, it was that. And I mean, sure, but you could still say it was innocent. You know what I mean? But I think that if you could prove that something has been directly tampered with, that's where it's going to be. And I even think the cell phone stuff, I mean, they just need to find a good expert that can break it down easily for the jury. Because even the cell phone stuff was like really hard to, I don't know much about it, so that's why I don't really talk about it. But even that was a little hard, I think, for a jury to understand. So even having an expert that can break that down too, I think would be really good.
Absolutely. I mean, I would love to see more experts on that stuff.
Yeah.
And they may already have one. I'm not
might.
aware of all their experts. I don't know. The only way we seem to find out is when they get challenged, right? I haven't seen a full witness list for this next trial. I haven't. Have you seen anything like that yet?
I haven't seen anything like that.
Yeah. So we don't know.
I mean, they would probably be expensive though. I don't know if they would do it, but they probably wouldn't do it. Equivision. I mean, I think that would be tricky to get somebody from Equivision because it could go either way, and I don't think they would want to testify because again, if their video was tampered with, their proprietary file, that does not look good. But you could also say, oh, it's been tampered with, and then I don't know, that's a bit tricky. You might have to have somebody like more independent that has prior experience with them to look at the videos and to kind of break it down a little bit more. But that would be interesting to see if they could get somebody that has a good expertise in it.
Definitely. And that's why we keep trying to raise money. That's why the fundraising is so important. If you want to contribute, again, freekarenreed.net, you can click on that and you'll see, scroll down the page, you'll see the fundraiser, or you can just put in Google Karen Reed Defense Fund. We're doing a fundraiser tonight too. If you want a Young Jerk sticker,
I'm going to order a sticker.
Yeah, if you send $5 or more to Karen Reed on her defense fund, you can make a screen capture of that, send an email over to me, mjcboston1, mjcboston1 @yahoo.com, and send me your mailing address, and we'll send you out one of these. You can also send us a message on our Facebook page, The Young Jerks, or our Twitter account @The Young Jerks with your mailing address. And your screen capture will send you out a Young Jerk sticker just like this. I want to thank everyone. You guys, I've been addressing envelopes all day because we've raised so much money. And I'm going to be doing them all night. It's amazing how many people contributed tonight and today to the Karen Reed Defense Fund. I'm going to take a look at that right now. Let's bring that up and just take a quick look and see if we got some more donations coming in. I love when the donations come in. Hold on one second. Go. Look at this. We're up to $728,000.
Wow. That's awesome.
Here we go. Another anonymous sent in $20. Young Jerk sticker for free Karen Reed. Mimi sent $10. She says, Mike Crawford sent me. Brianna, that's a new one. She sent $50. Thank you so much, Brianna. They keep coming in. I love it. I'm loving seeing it.
It's so great that you're doing like such a good fundraiser. I love that.
Elise sent $10. She said, Young Jerk sticker fundraiser. It's amazing. Oh, look at this one. $100.
Wow, that's a good one.
Yes. Another one for $10. Emma, I think we read that earlier. Another $10 from Amanda. I just addressed your stickers, Amanda. Amanda's definitely getting stickers.
Oh, great.
It's amazing to see all these today.
That's
another one for $15 from Heidi. Thank you, Heidi. Here's another $25 anonymous one that mentions us and the Young Jerks. Thank you so much. This is amazing to see how many donations are coming in today.
Wow.
Look at them all. Look at, I mean, just keeps going. This is all from today too.
This is all
There's
from
another
today.
Young Jerks one. Jen, thank you so much. Jen. Another one, Kim. Kim, thank you so much. Another anonymous for 7. There's some big ones too in here. There's an $8 from Carissa. Another 10 from Denise. Beth, thank you. What is that one? Tammy. Oh my God, they just keep going. It's amazing. Here's another anonymous for 20. I love it. We're killing it today. Look at this. It just keeps going and going.
It's like
There's
an
another
endless
one.
scroll. I love endless scrolls.
Yeah. And there's Marissa and Cynthia and Paul and Zelda. Thank you, Zelda. And here's $50 from Erica.
Wow, you raised so much money today.
And this is the big one, 250. Anonymous 250. They said, thank you, Young Jerks. Thank you so much, Anonymous. It's amazing. I could keep going. I mean, it's amazing. We raised over
you raised
over
so much
1,000
money today.
Yeah.
And
But
this
it's
is all
about
from today.
This is all from today. There's more too. If I
Wow.
kept going, read more. See, that is another one, $10 from Melissa. You should see my email list. I'm gonna be up all night.
You're gonna be up
Send it
all
out.
night addressing envelopes.
I am. I love it. Stuffing them for Karen Reed.
Hey, you know what? It's a lost art form, mailing things out.
I love it. It feels fun. It's like, and you know what the best thing is when people get the sticker. Sometimes I'm really late on them. Sometimes I send them months later, and all of a sudden they're like, "I got my stickers! Holy shit! I never thought they were coming." It's like people get so excited about just a little free sticker. I love it.
I did one time. I did like a direct mail campaign. I just did it for my LLC. I was like, I'm just gonna like reach out to them, like just do flyers because it's like kind of a lost art. And I'm like, oh, this will be fun. It'll be like a fun little like Cricut project. And then I got to like 500 envelopes, and I'm like, okay, like this is a little crazy for my email list.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like
I don't
using up
want
Christmas
500.
cards.
I think I'm gonna have like 50 probably. That's probably what we'll see. I'm out of the 3M stickers. Those are the ones everyone wanted. I want to thank Stephanie, one of our moderators. She designed those and printed them up. Now I'm begging her, can we get some more? Because those were very popular. People love those 3M stickers. Yeah, I'm excited. This is fun. I want to thank you for being here tonight. We can play a little more video. Do you want to play a little more video and watch it and maybe even take a break before, come back and talk about it? Or you can run. It's up to you. What do you want to do?
No, we could do that. That's good. I mean, we probably should have done it in the beginning because I'm sorry, my little thing didn't work out, but
yeah, and we can take like a 5-minute break and just play the video too, because I'm gonna bring up the other dog and check in on the family and we'll just start playing the video and maybe check back in and we can talk about it if you want.
yeah. I have to go feed my cat for like 30 seconds, so I'll jump back in.
Yeah, go do that. I'll remove you from the screen and we'll play the video.
All right, sounds good.
Perfect. All right, we're gonna play a little bit of video and Abby's gonna come back maybe if she wants. She doesn't have to. This is fun though. Abby is such a treasure for us. It's so good to have her here. Play a little more of Bukaki. Look at him. Look at his face. Oh my God. Look at this guy. He knows he's in trouble. Love this guy. Popeye. Popeye. Oh no, did we lose the volume on this? Oh, okay, here we go. This is a sidebar. The defense just called the bluff. The defense is like, that's
I'm
an all.
showing you with this. Just look at that. Look up when you finish. Do you recognize that, sir?
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize that to be?
The Canton Police Department driveway with video.
And what's contained on that is that fair and accurate portrayal of yourself and the tow truck pulling into the Canton Police Department driveway on that afternoon or early evening of January 29th.
Yes, it is.
May I approach, Ron?
Yes.
Almost seek to introduce the minutes of that exhibit.
They have just a moment. Okay. Mike. Thank you for that, Your Honor. No objection.
Okay.
And Your Honor, with the court's permission, we publish that video to your sign.
Okay.
And just for reference points, in regard to this view of this camera, Sergeant, you're familiar with the Canton Police Station?
Yes, I am.
And so where is this camera view in relation to the Canton Police Department and the sallyport garage where the vehicle eventually goes?
This camera is capturing the driveway entrance to the Canton Police Department. As viewed from Washington Street, that driveway there is on the left side of the structure. The camera itself is pointing towards the entrance of the driveway to the Canton Police Department. As you can see, the brake light illuminated in the shot. That is a Canton Police cruiser sitting at the edge of the driveway right by Washington Street.
So for orientation purposes, as far as the tow truck and your vehicle, is that coming from the top of the screen to the bottom or the bottom to the top?
It's coming from the top left to the bottom right of the screen towards the rear of the building where the sallyport is located.
Thank you. Ms. Gilman, if you could. Pause there, Ms. Gilman. As far as what's depicted in this still shot of this video, Sergeant, what if anything do you observe?
That is the tow truck transporting the defendant's vehicle, arriving at Canton PD. My vehicle with Trooper Proctor inside, me operating, are following closely behind as we did the entire way from Dayton all the way to Canton.
Gentlemen, if you could play that to the end. Thank you. Now, as far as the interior of the sallyport garage,
Put the lights. Thank you.
as far as the interior sallyport of the garage, you mentioned that that is a heated area, is that correct?
That's correct.
And as far as the heat within that, do you know how that is produced or how hot it gets in there as far as the time that you spent within there?
I do not know, but it was a standard garage heating system that blows hot air. As far as temperature, when the doors were open, that day it was freezing cold. It was, I believe, like 18 degrees with, winds blowing. So inside the garage inside the sallyport with the doors open, it was quite cold. Once the doors shut, the temperature rose above freezing and the snow began to melt off of the vehicle.
And from the arrival of that vehicle into the sallyport garage area, are you aware or have you reviewed video in reference to that?
Yes, I did.
And Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Showing you another disc, sir. Just ask you to review that one when you finish. And do you recognize that, sir?
Yes, I do.
And does that contain the video that you were just testifying about as far as the arrival of the vehicle at the Canton Police Department sallyport garage?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
How about the seat to introduce in the minutes of that exhibit?
No objection, Your Honor.
Now, Sergeant, before we get to that video, if I could just ask, if you know, approximately what time was it that you left Dayton following that tow truck back to the Canton Police Department?
We left Dayton approximately 4:15, 4:20, and we followed the vehicle back to Canton, arriving probably around 5:30 or so p.m.
Thank you, sir. And Your Honor, with the court's permission, if we could publish that video for the jury.
Okay.
Ms. Gilman, if you could just pause there for a moment. Sergeant, direct your attention up to the video on the screen just for orientation purposes again. First of all, do you recognize what's depicted in this video?
Yes, I do.
What do you recognize it to be?
That is the Sallyport two-bay garage at Canton Police Department with the antique Canton Cruiser on the bottom of the screen, and the open spot for a vehicle in the middle of the screen with the four-wheel drive all-terrain vehicle at the top.
Now, as far as, again, for orientation purposes, the driveway that the jury just witnessed in the prior exhibit, is that to the left of the screen, the right of the screen, or something else?
The driveway is to the right of the screen.
And this vehicle, the defendant's vehicle is sort of taken into the garage from the opposite side or from the left of the screen, is that correct?
Correct.
Ms. Gilman, if you could, please.
Your Honor, may we approach briefly?
Okay. Could you pause that, Ms. Gilman?
You see that right there too? That's when they flashed it on the screen, what Abby caught. So funny. I'm gonna stop it right here for a second, but you notice how he seemed to know a lot about the video. But then when they get called out, you're gonna see that he's kind of plays dumb. So funny. It's wild. What do you think, Abby? You're on mute right now. Let me unmute you. Hold on.
Oh,
There you
I'm
go.
sorry about that.
That's
No,
all right.
it's wild to me that, again, they're questioning the video too. And so this was, as you can see from even the screenshot, it looks like it was played in Equivision. And in Equivision, you can, again, just do file authenticate. So if the file was legit, why didn't they just do that to prove being like, hey, this is legit? I think if they got it to play in Equivision again, just to make it look authentic, and they didn't authenticate it because they couldn't. Because if they did that, it would have just crashed.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Wild.
It's wild. And even in the motion to dismiss too, I liked how the defense pointed out about the blurriness of the video. And when we were talking about last time, where I said I think that there was a blur mask, and our last caller, Jeremy, I think even pointed that out when he did. I actually didn't even think about doing, again, like a Python script to look at the video, but I'll probably do that now because I think that's actually interesting. I mean, it's hard to tell because, again, we're just seeing it from when we're seeing the video played in court, we're seeing a camera filming it. So it might not, if you had the original, if you had even a video file, that could be another option too, just to run, some like video troubleshooting on the actual file itself. Because it's hard to do when you're seeing it from, again, a recording from, we're seeing it recorded in court on a TV screen. So I think that's where it's a little, I'd be interested to actually see the original files that they were given.
Absolutely. And it's wild right here. It's like they submitted this video last minute, no discovery, no
Nothing.
warning to the defense, totally fine with Judge Bev, and then it's doctored. They get caught, totally fine with Judge Bev. But what's interesting is watching this. It seems like Karen Reed knew right away. I think Karen and her defense team recognized this immediately, and that's what this sidebar is and you could see her. It looks like she's even communicating to her parents, like, can you believe this shit? They just submitted an inverted video. Look at her. Let's watch this. She goes. She's like, did you see that? Did you see that? Mom and Dad, did you see that?
I mean, could you imagine putting yourself in that situation? And I don't even know what I would do in that. I would be pissed. I would be like, I would probably just rise up and just be like, this is inverted. This is a fake video. Because I noticed it right away. Like, I remember the first time that I saw this, the sallyport, within like the first 3 to 4 seconds, I was like, this is
There she
inverted.
goes again. She's looking back to her family. Like, can
Yeah.
you believe this shit? Backwards. They just submitted a backwards video, Mom and Dad.
Well, it's the police on the vehicle too. Like, why? I mean, if you're gonna doctor a video, at least crop it. I mean, that's what I would have done. I would have tried to crop out the police part because, I mean, halfway through, you do see the 4, but the police itself is a huge indicator of what's inverted.
Yeah. Unbelievable. And Bev doesn't care. The judge does not care. The judge absolutely does nothing.
Does nothing.
Absolutely sees Shay.
And I mean, you look at other cases too that has a video. I don't think I've seen a case where they didn't have to provide the metadata.
A short afternoon
The
break on
security
long
file.
days at about a half an hour, but I think the better use of our time is to give you a 10-minute break now. And then we'll go straight through till 4 o'clock. And if anybody needs a break,
All rise for the court, please.
Now that we submitted fake video, it's a good time to take a break. We need the prosecution to get their shit together because they just submitted a doctored video, and I'm just going to pretend nothing happened. Unbelievable.
Well, you even look at when Proctor was like, well, it was yellow when I saw it. And then it was blue with, it's not that you can't change those colors in Equivision, but why would you export 2 different time code colors? Like, what would be the purpose of it? Unless you're exporting the file twice. And even if we look back at the Lally screen grab, all of those files were like basically placed on the drive around June. There's another one from April, and I think the earliest one is like from March. So why are all these files just put on there now?
I
guess,
the witness leave the stand just for a moment.
sure. Thank you. Yeah, we'll see you back here in about 10 minutes, Sergeant.
We'll see you back in 10 minutes. We'll let the prosecution get their shit
You
together.
are unmuted.
Okay, so you want us to watch this now?
Please don't vote yes.
Auntie Bev with her sigh.
Notice the snow too. If they just back to the vehicle right here, what's all the snow doing in there around the car? Like, what car did they pull out before that? So weird.
Well, we know that now there's another video of it being pulled in earlier.
Yeah.
Did you see how smooth that is going in? And then watch when he gets out.
It didn't jump around, right? Yeah, I know. What's up with that?
Yep. And that's when we were talking about before, like that group of pictures and cutting on something.
Can we turn out the lights, please, Dave? Thank you.
Is it the fastest thing in the frame isn't jumped, but yet when the guy gets out of the car, there's a huge jump cut. Why? There's active motion.
And that snow, this is a good comment from Sherry D. The snow on the ground perfectly outlines the Lexus. It's so obvious that they pulled it back in. It's so bizarro. Sure looks like that.
And I think the court TV one too shows like the time code at the bottom of just like the player time code, which is interesting because you'll see the jumps.
I wonder if I take the banner off, if that helps. No, it doesn't show it here. Question. So if you view, copy, or transfer an MP4 file, does that change the metadata?
Yes and no. If you transfer file, it does. Like it will change the modification date. The structure itself, not really, unless you're encoding again. Unless you're encoding or decoding it again, it shouldn't change too much. But if you do transfer, view a file, like the view date or the modification date will sometimes change in the XML data. The only way that, again, but you could, for example, overwrite a file. And when you overwrite the file, it's not going to change it if you have a specific FFmpeg script. You can just replace the file and it won't show a modification date because it's basically a script that will directly overwrite it, if that makes sense, without changing the container, because the container is really what contains that information. So the metadata is really in that container. So if you replace the stream codec without decoding it, it theoretically it wouldn't show a change unless you're changing the container. Sorry if that was complicated.
The comment came in and said sallyport video watch doors, one is night and one is daytime. When SBD pulls in, I was sold when I saw that. It was spliced and a whole lot more. It does seem funny, doesn't it?
Yeah, you see like a lot of the different artifacts. So I actually think it's interesting when you look at this, when you look at the steam coming out. So like that's really in focus. The different focal points of the video itself, you can tell that there's a mask on it. Like it's not natural to that lens, and because that lens is a wide lens. So that's also interesting.
Also interesting how Bev didn't care. Bev didn't
She didn't care.
They submitted all of this. She just didn't care.
Do you see how when he walks by, I think it's so interesting. The dummy is probably the most interesting thing in the scene to me because you can tell.
Right,
like
red dummy in front of the car.
Yeah, where the mask is. It's almost like they kind of put it, like some of the Lexus is super in focused in the middle, but like on top is really blurry. Like the bottom is blurry. The bikes in the background are blurry. It's not super in focused in the front, but yet the police is blurred. It's odd. It's very odd. It's something that I've never seen before, to be perfectly honest.
Two more questions just came in, super chats. One from Janice says, can seeing the ghost prove anything?
It proves it was cut. Because we already kind of went over, which, I mean, I think you already have my channel posted for YouTube, but I did create a video.
Yeah, I should mention that. It's because people were asking in the chat how they could find Abby's YouTube. It's pinned at the top of the chat. Please follow Abby on X and YouTube as well. It's pinned at the top of the chat. Please do that.
CT Video Jesus is the YouTube. Super easy to remember.
There you go. Video Jesus. Another comment came in from Craig Tracy. Craig says, can Abby explain why some videos, the dark reverse angle specifically, have analog distortion artifacts when our digital recordings? What do you think on that one?
I think it was an RG. I think so you can, in an editing program, you can put like a curve on something. So I think that camera was probably super in focus.
Still Ellie, or
so to the point that like if they did alter that video, it would have been very like, I mean, this is obvious. Let's just be real. This is super obvious. But even the closer angle, I think it's almost, you have to get a little tricky about it because you can't make it super blurry. So people are saying, oh, well, it looks, super fake so they just basically put an RGB curve. So basically it's like a little curve, you lower the exposure on it, and then it kind of makes the highlights really, really pronounced and the shadows really pronounced, which can happen too with like analog video. And that's basically what we call color distortion or pixelation distortion, when you're really taking a curve and underexposing it. And then, trying to get like, maybe like, putting a curve up with some of the highlights, there's going to be a lot of like color and pixel distortion, which is why it looks like it's analoged. But I think that was definitely 100% post-produced, just based on the way that camera functions and low lighting, which I did in case, we didn't cover this and probably should have pointed that out for people that haven't seen me before. I bought a camera that I went to the Town Records of Canton. I looked at the recent invoices for cameras that they purchased. And I found the 3045E access camera. So I purchased that on eBay. I went in, I tested the camera. I bought all the P switches, and I tested different lighting situations, different frame variables, the motion activation of the camera, and I could not recreate anything that looked like the sallyport.
Greg says, I'm not talking about color distortion. It has VCR like tape distortion.
Well, yeah. So when I talk about color distortion, that's what we call color noise. So it's noisy, and things get noisy when you're, say if you have something that's super overexposed and you basically bring down the exposure, you're gonna get color noise. If you take something that's super dark and you hike it and hike it up a lot, you're still gonna get that noise distortion, which that noise distortion looks like analog. Maybe I can actually pull something in right now while you're talking about it, and I can show you exactly what I'm talking about.
Dark Cloud says 1963 Zapruder film was clearer. It's so
Yeah,
true.
right.
It's true. I think that was a Super 8 too.
Is that the end of it, Ms. Gilman? Okay. All right. Lights on, please, Dave. Thank you. All right. So I have a copy of the printed docket on 4/24. Paper number 347 was the Commonwealth's Notice of Discovery XL. I just asked Mr. McDermott to print it for me. Our printer up here doesn't work. All right, so that was before we impaneled. That was the day, I believe, of the long motion in limine trial. All right, so we'll take a 5-minute break, okay?
Thank you, Honor.
All right.
Oh man, Bevitt or breaks. Every time it gets hard for the
She just loves her breaks.
Yeah, time to take a break.
Yep, time to take a break.
If the prosecution's looking bad or the defense is on a roll, it's time to take a break. 5 minutes turns into what, 20 minutes? This is crazy.
Oh yeah, for sure. So let me I have something pulled up from the security camera that I did on curves. Let's just put an RGB curve on this real fast. Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up now. I'm just gonna show you exactly what I'm talking about as far as noise. Present share screen.
All right, so keep your voice up.
Sergeant Mechanic, with reference.
All right, let's see what Abby has here.
Yeah, so we talk about like this is like a clear picture, right? So if we wanted to make this super dark, when we export this out, see that kind of looks, you see like these like highlights of the lines. And then if we export this out, it's gonna get like super, super noisy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then because the way this is going to process when it exports, and like say we put it like at a very low bit rate, which would be kind of a security. So if we do like a very low bit rate, this color information is going to look very grainy, like it's analogged.
Definitely.
So that's how I think it was pretty much done. And that's pretty, or, you could even, mess with it a little bit more. I mean, this probably wasn't the best footage to work with because, again, if it was probably a little bit darker, it'd be a little bit better. But, like, if we do something like that.
I can recognize Trooper Proctor myself. Other than that, I don't remember exactly who else was present at this moment in time.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
This is your murder weapon. And you don't know who was there. You don't have a record of that? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Not believable.
Right? If you could start using the laser pointer before you just direct your attention to where you observe yourself and where you observe the problem.
That's Trooper Proctor and myself. Yeah.
At any point in time when you were present with this vehicle in the sallyport garage this evening of January 29, 2022, did either yourself or did you observe Proctor touch or manipulate in any way the right rear passenger side area of that?
No, we did not.
Ms. Gilman, if you could play from here.
Funny how you can barely hear
Yeah.
Adam Lally. He's very broken up there. We're nowhere near the tail light.
Oh, here we go.
By the
So,
taillight. There he is, right by the tail light.
right? And do you see the middle of the Lexus, how it's like very clear?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you see that? How isn't that interesting? I think that's interesting, but yet that's further away than like the cone. The cone isn't clear. It's like there is definitely like a weird mask on that.
It's funny, you can see that the center of the vehicle is much clearer than everything else.
Yep. That's because I think again it was like almost like a mask up here and then a mask down there.
Wild. I've had no issue with any of this. No issue.
So yeah, even if you want to pause it for a second, I just lowered the resolution on this other video that I was just doing the demo of that I just pulled up for the shared screen. And that's kind of what I mean by looking like it's analogged. Can you see that okay? How there's that noise of just, like if you tweak the colors enough where it's like not, I mean, obviously this is a little bit more severe. You could probably tweak it up a little bit more to make it look more, realistic. This is like a lower resolution. So I just changed the resolution of the timeline. But that's like what can happen as far as like something looking analogged.
Makes sense. And it's funny too. We could play this sallyport video forever. There's a lot more to this, and then this when the defense comes out. I think we're gonna maybe play that later this week. But I just love watching this. It's like the Keystone Cops over here. It's just like
it's definitely interesting for sure.
who is that guy right there? Nobody knows.
And it's interesting how they come and go. And it's very intentional cuts and that ghosting effect. Right there. Do you see that? Like that when it was coming down?
Yep.
I think that's when they went out with the taillight. So they got the taillight pieces and then they exited the garage.
What you're observing in this video, what you've seen or what you recall from this, what is it that you and Proctor and some of the other officers are doing now?
We're establishing a perimeter around the vehicle with yellow tape in order to prevent or alert and advise anyone in the area to stay away from the vehicle.
After all those people circled it.
Yeah.
Now you put it up. Now you put it up.
Yeah. Now they put it up. And see again, look at that line. This is interesting to me too. Look at the line of the tape.
Yep. That's where it gets blurry after the tape.
Yep. So again, I think it was definitely like a horizontal mask, like from the top. and then from the bottom, looks like a little bit of the feather. But this person, just based on the camera settings, because he's probably, again, I probably estimate this to be about, I think I even put out measurements, about 10 feet. Like the dummy should be in focus, or, you know, like fairly well in focus, because it's about 10 feet. And that camera at 10 feet, 20 feet is when it starts to get a little bit out of focus. But
You
this
see
is
that
about,
person just disappear? Did you see that person disappear?
yeah,
That
just
was
disappeared out of thin
crazy.
air.
That was crazy. Let's bring that back like a
Oh,
second
you
or
can
two.
take that down, Mr. Rob.
Watch this person on the right.
Yep.
He's waving. Then he's gone. Did you see
And he's
that?
gone, but yet people
Oh
are
my
still moving in the
God.
frame.
That looks like Star Trek. Like, you know, beam me up, Scotty. Like he's there.
Well,
What-
look, and then how the tape too, you know, when they're
Yeah.
walking around the vehicle. And notice how every jump cut that you see has a ghosting effect after it. I mean, if you actually do it frame by frame, you'll see like 2 to 3, like probably like 4 frames after each cut has a little bit of a ghosting apparatus, which means it was definitely cut. Because again, that's not native to how that camera records.
Unbelievable. There he is. Let's watch him again disappear. I'm going to try to breathe. He's waving goodbye.
And then
There he is. He's there. Oh,
and then look,
And
and then the guy moves at that, you know, see the number 4, he also moves.
yeah.
There's
And
like
you
number
did,
3.
and there's a door there. Like I think he went through the door, but this looks like a doorknob. I didn't see him open the door. He just disappeared.
Well,
Like he
also
walked
go
through the
to
wall.
look at that. So rewind that and look at the back of the garage, because that happens. There's a person there that just disappears, goes nowhere.
This is wild.
So so wait
And
for it. Watch where the number 4 is.
And Bev is totally fine with this. Yeah, that's obviously why you could show it's inverted to 4. I mean, this is how
Yeah.
dumb they are. They thought we were going to fall for this.
So watch, there's 3 people there. They're talking. There's the guy right there. He's the one that's gonna
Waves.
waves. And then
disappears. Oh.
boom, the person behind the vehicle just disappears. You see the other 2 people walking, but the other person just disappears.
It's
So there's
gone.
like 3 people and there's 2.
And then he reappears right here. Yeah.
Yep.
You see the 3 heads now. And
Yep.
they
Now you
they
see 2 heads.
Yeah, and they keep changing. They
Oh, you
keep
can take
it's
that down,
weird.
Mr. Rob, so we can have the lights.
Take that down. Take that down. It's exposing us. What are we doing? Take it down. Oh my God. This
Now,
is
Sergeant
crazy.
Mechanic,
Oh,
are you
actually,
aware,
wait, go back. Go back. If you want to go back a little bit.
a warrant that was executed on that.
What do you want to go back to?
When they first exit out of the program. No, just like maybe like a few seconds back. Like when it first ends, you can see on the TV screen, there's also a Photoshop and a Premiere button on on the desktop.
No way. Let me wow, I see that.
I
right
noticed
now.
this.
Holy shit. Let's
So-
can we get the ticker out? Maybe that even helps us see it better. No, it doesn't. But yeah, I see it, the top of the screen.
Yeah, so if you once it ends, he'll directly X out of it. And even when it starts the video, if you go on Court TV, you'll see a Photoshop button and then you'll see a Premiere button. So anybody that says they didn't have the capability to do it,
Unbelievable.
they had Photoshop and Premiere.
That's wild. Does everyone
See-
see that in the chat? All the stuff that we're putting out? Yeah. This is wild. This is so wild. Every time we watch it, we notice more stuff.
Yeah,
Let's
so right
keep
when
playing it.
exit, and you know what the funny thing too, like I see, this is why again we have method A where the file was replaced and it was like that's how it was played in Equivision, or this was like a screen capture, because you never really see the loading for Equivision when the video first starts to play either. Usually you get like a loading for like the Equivision player would have like a little splash screen. You never see the splash screen, so that's also very weird too.
Wild.
So that's why it's like on a fence of whether it's a screen capture video or it's actually played in Equivision. I don't know what it was played in, but I'm on the fence about both.
Both the dark or
Oh, you can
reverse.
take that down, Mr. Rob, so we can have the lights back on.
I might have to check that out in the next show, Craig.
Yeah, see right there, like the purple and the blue button, the purple buttons.
Of a warrant that was executed on that vehicle.
Second.
I mean, it's not super crisp in this one. I think. Do I have an image of it? I think I do somewhere.
We'll play it the next show. I don't want
Yeah,
to
I'll
be
play
looking for new videos, but what we like. I want to go through all
Take
this.
that down, Mr. Officer. We can have the lights back on.
Right. What
Right
is that?
there. Those purple. So there's a purple button there, and there's a blue button there, and those two purple icons. So the purple icon and the blue icon. Anybody can
bottom
go.
right?
Yeah. So it's like maybe a second. Yeah. So you see that little like purple thing at the? I think it's your screen left. Yeah, right there. So that purple. So yep, that's Premiere and that's Photoshop.
Wow.
See
Busted.
that?
Yep. Unbelievable.
That's why I say they have Adobe capabilities.
Of a warrant that was executed on that vehicle on February 1st of 2022.
I am aware.
And you yourself were not present for that. Is that correct?
I was not present for the execution, no, sir.
Trooper Proctor was, as far as you're aware. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, the next time that you were within the Canton Police Department Sallyport garage with the vehicle was on February 2nd. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And on that day, where did the vehicle go from the police station?
From the Canton Police Station, I escorted the vehicle to the Milton Barracks for safekeeping.
And why was it taken from the Canton Police Station on February 2nd to the Milton Police Barracks? Or what had occurred in the intervening part between January 29th and February 2nd?
The Canton Police Department had recused themselves from interviews and in that portion of the investigation. And now that the vehicle had been processed, we needed to free up the Canton Sallyport so they can utilize that facility for transporting prisoners to their facility and booking.
My question is, why didn't it go to the Milton Police State Barracks in the first place? I mean, that is.
I mean, I think.
So we stored.
Sorry, go ahead, Abby.
No, I think it's odd. And it's odd that that didn't happen, but I understand why. At the end of the day, like they had access. They have, they have family members that work in Canton. It was almost like a piece of the pie. You know what I mean? Like if you brought it anywhere else, like not everybody is going to do those kind of favors, but in Canton, I mean, honestly, it's kind of like family pie.
Yeah, they control it there.
They control everything there. So why wouldn't they bring it to Canton? They wouldn't bring it anywhere else because they can't tamper with the video.
Yep.
They can't have everybody in on it. And I suspect too, it's like all of these people seem very connected. Even when we talk about like Colleen Crawford, we talk about Auntie Bev, we talk about, all the McAlberts, like everybody is like very connected in this little inner circle. So Canton was the perfect, it was like a Thanksgiving pie at family time,
Like
why wouldn't you?
It's like the Michael Morrissey crime family, and they're all hooked into it.
Yeah.
The now processed vehicle back at the Milton Barracks in a unheated garage.
And Your Honor, if with the court's permission, if I could publish just a very brief portion of what's been marked as Exhibit 34.
Okay.
Which is the Canton Police Department Sallyport garage camera.
Okay.
And I'm just going to, what you have up there, I'm sorry, February 2nd, 2022, approximately 8:09 a.m. I'm just going to ask you to play that through till about 8:10:26.
Wow, doesn't that look a lot like what you showed us earlier, Abby?
Actually, that was a little bit. I think, actually, I think this was shot at pretty high resolution too, because I cut that. So the second time I showed that clip, I cut it in a lower resolution timeline. That looks exactly like how it would look at, and you see that right there. It looks, it definitely looks like the frame rate was changed. Keep going.
It's moving. Wow. What's with that movement? That's weird.
Sergeant, just for orientation purposes, again, this is another
Hmm.
camera from within the same Sallyport garage, is that correct?
That's correct. That's the opposite view from what we just viewed in the previous video.
And as far as any of the people in this video, do you recognize any of the individuals in there?
I believe that's myself and then another officer. I don't know who that other
That's not
officer is.
natural.
And just again, using the laser pointer, if you could, direct your attention to where you see yourself.
Like, why would you even show this? You can't see anything.
No, I know. How can he see anything? This is
The
crazy.
vehicle from January 29th, when you saw it on that day, to February 2nd, when you saw it on that day. As far as the exterior of the vehicle, what if anything was different, or what if anything you note or observe?
I noted the taillight removed and the evidence collected.
As far as the snow and the caked on ice that you observed on that prior day, was that still present on February 2nd?
No, that had melted away.
And I'm assuming if you could again, I'm sorry, just wait through the 8, 10, 26.
How can he see anything in this? Ridiculous.
No.
This is evidence.
And it's definitely like, look at that. The exposure is very unnatural. I mean, even when you record something, I mean, it has to be dark. For example, like I used the camera and like my boyfriend turned off all the lights in the house. Like there literally has to be no lights on for that to look the way that it does. There's no explanation for it. Even in low lighting, like if I have one light on, it's still like you can still see stuff. You can't even see anything, but so what are they working in pitch black darkness? Like those cameras are pretty sensitive as far as the sensor.
Yeah, especially light. They're good in low light now. A lot of them. My camera on my computer is.
Yeah, and you would be able to tell, and you see that those little markings. So that's where I talk about the unnatural color. That's a curve. That blue, that red, these highlights in the frame, like the white little highlights, the outlines. That's a curve where somebody applied that. Like that doesn't record like that in dark
Take
lighting.
that down.
Wild.
And Mr. Officer, we can have the lights back on. Thank you.
Again, the Premiere and the Photoshop.
Now, Sergeant Buchanan, with regard to Mr. O'Keefe's house at One Meadows Avenue in Canton, at some point did you become aware throughout the course of your investigation that there were exterior cameras affixed to that residence?
I think we're good tonight. I think the next show,
Yeah.
or one of the next shows, we're going to play the video when the defense goes at him about the Sallyport video. But I thought it was good just to review when that video was first introduced and how poorly they handled it. Adam Lally and Buchanan, and they thought they were going to get away with it. And Karen Reed knew right away. Her defense team knew right away. You could see it. She turned to her family and said, "It's inverted. It's a reverse video. It's you could see her. It's just
You
amazing."
don't even need to see the 4 in the garage.
Yeah,
Like,
the 4 in the garage. That giveaway.
Like, I mean, that was a giveaway, but even the police is backwards. That police car, they should have moved that.
Right. Yeah.
You're
How
going to
did they
stage
think
a
we would
scene.
fall for that? Yeah. How did they think that anyone would be stupid enough to like not notice that when all these people like us are broadcasting it live, thousands of people are watching it at home, analyzing every detail, and they thought they would slip that by us? It's just so shocking.
Well, and it goes to show you, like, it looks like they were in a rush to do it too. You know, everything looked very rushed, because if you were going to try to, you know, we already have the path, the snow path, that it's clearly already been moved in there at one point. And then we have the police car. Like, if you're going to invert a video and like try to be like, okay, let's be sneaky about this, let's invert it, move the damn cop car. Like, within the first 3 seconds of seeing that video, it didn't even take 4 seconds for me to see that it was inverted because of the police car. Like, it says police backwards.
That's unbelievable. I want to thank all the super chatters tonight. V Dot, he's a good man over there. He sent us $9.99. He says Abby is awesome. Keep doing the damn thing, Mike. Thank you, V Dot. And we had Wendy. She said, "How are the Sallyport videos even admissible since the Canton PD has been recused?"
No.
Exactly.
I have no idea. I mean, I've never even seen a case. Again, any criminal case, and not like I'm a true crime junkie or anything, but even like basic cases, you have to have, an actual security camera file. And these are like MP4s.
Unbelievable that this
We're at
judge just lets
metadata
them
or
get away with it.
something.
Yeah. Kyle says security cameras have necessarily narrow apertures so that the wide view has everything in focus. The CMOS affects resolution and
And
lumen
luminosity.
sensitivity.
Yep, it is correct. So that's what I mean. Everything there should be, especially when it's closer up, and the way the camera. I mean, I think there was a Twitter account that literally had somebody that went in there was like a person on Twitter went in there with their iPhone and just got like a quick capture of it. The camera's up pretty high, so when it's pointing down like that, you should have a very narrow like everything's pretty in focus with those CMOS sensors. But I mean, especially when it's close to the camera, that's when you're going to get the most detail. Yet we see very inconsistencies with the detail, especially at like some things are more in focus further out than closer to the camera, which should be the opposite.
Absolutely. Do you have any final thoughts or anything you want to share or maybe promote your YouTube and X account?
Yeah, for sure. So you can follow me at CT Video Jesus, and then my X account at Abby, ABBIE, Elizabeth. So ELIZBET on X. And so I think that's been pinned to the chat, and I'll also comment too. So you can follow me there, and I will paste some more, not paste, I'll create some more pictures that are like more infographics. Sorry again about the beginning of it. I was trying to
it's
do
fine.
it live and like explain it and point things out, but I will post more images tonight of those little like whiteboards, chalkboards of like what each file are. That way it can break it down a little bit easier because everybody likes pictures.
Definitely make sure you follow Abby on X and YouTube. You can find it pinned to the chat right now. So make sure you follow her before you leave tonight. Like she said, she posts a lot of good things, especially on Twitter. So make sure you follow in there too. And we'll have you back again. I can't wait to do more shows. Yeah. And then like next time we can play more video. I want to play when the defense gets to panic about this doctored Sallyport video. That will be for the next episode.
For sure. Oh, actually, I need to make a correction. It's Abby, so it's ABBY Elizabeth on X. So sorry about that.
Oh,
I don't even know my own Twitter handle.
Just click. I want people to just click right in the super chat in the chat, and you'll get right there. So hopefully people do that right now. I want to thank you again for being here tonight, Abby.
Yeah, no, thank you for inviting me.
We really appreciate everything you bring. Our audience loves you. So thank you so much for being here again tonight.
No, thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. That's Abby. She's the video Jesus. She does a great job here. Really happy to have her as our video expert. Thank you, Sherry D, who just gifted 10 Young Jerks memberships. Thank you, everybody who's been watching today. Did 2 shows today. For all the super chats and all the comments and the new subscribers. Great. We're finally over 41,000 subs on YouTube. I can't believe it. Thank you so much. I want to thank our guest today. Thank you, Attorney Nan Gallagher earlier. She was phenomenal. Thank you, Abby, Video Jesus. She's great. Thank you to all our callers like Jeremy from Sacramento. We had D tonight call in. We had Martha from Poland. And some other folks too. We had a guy who was he was an expert. He called in about his, what his local government was, his work and how they kept video for a year. 10 years ago, he made the change from 30 days to a year. So that was a great call as well. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank our moderators. Thank you so much for MJ, Sarah and Shockenhara, Stephanie, Jen, and Scott McGinnis. We have the best mod team around. Thank you so much for keeping the chat happy and positive, and I love our chat. And posted all the links. They post all the links to our guest. I really appreciate them as well. Very lucky here. Tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Make sure you come back. Make sure you subscribe and like if you haven't. But tomorrow night at 6 p.m., we have a special show. We have a state senator, Michael Moore, who's going to be here. He wrote a letter to the attorney general demanding answers, asking for answers for the family of Enrique Delgado Garcia, a Massachusetts State Police recruit who died at a training facility. Still no answers. Happened this summer. No answers. We had a retired North Carolina State Highway patrolman on the last show 2 nights ago, and he said something similar happened in his state, and the family had answers in just a matter of weeks. It's been months, no answers. The state senator should be here live tomorrow with retired Massachusetts State Policeman Todd McGee and Brian from LTL, who's been keeping this story going. He paid for a billboard. He's gotten a lot of publicity for the family. I'm really looking forward to that interview tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Check that out. Tuesday night, I'll be live broadcasting the Canton Select Board, the public comment. We may actually check out a little early on that and talk about the campaign of Susan Harrington. I think Boston Mike's going to be here on Tuesday night. So again, it's going to be another live show on Tuesday covering the Canton Select Board, but getting into some of the Canton Select Board election, the campaign, and talking about Susan Harrington and how she's made police accountability one of the main campaign issues. She's put a statement out on her website that we're going to read on Tuesday night, definitely. And we're going to play one of her recent videos. I'm looking forward to that. I think we may have Rita and a bunch of Canton residents on Saturday night to talk more about that as well. Wednesday, wicked pumped up. We got criminal defense attorney. He's also a former prosecutor, a former assistant district attorney, a former ADA. He's going to be back on the show. Carl Steinbeck. He's got his own channel. Check him out. I'm wicked excited to have him back on the show. He's going to be streaming in from Texas with us and talking all about Karen Reed. He's been covering Karen Reed much more recently since he's last been on the show. He's got a great following. People like him. He's very serious. A very serious guy. He's done a lot of great work. He's all about justice. So I'm looking forward to that on Wednesday night as well. And I expect more announcements. This is going to be a big week. Also, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, we'll be streaming during the day, from court. So it's going to be a big week. Get ready, people. I'm looking forward to this all week. I'm going to stream as much as I can this week. Make sure you're checking us out. Make sure you're coming back. And check every day. See when we're going to be live and hit the notification bell if you can. I can't wait this week. This is going to be a huge week. And we're going to have some great guests. We're going to get to see, hopefully, Bettero in action in court for Turtle Boy, for Aiden on Wednesday. Aiden at 2 p.m. on Wednesday. If you can be there, show up for Aiden too, Turtle Boy, because this is going to be the big one for Aiden. This is going to be the motion to dismiss on Wednesday at 2 p.m. And he's going to have Bettero and Bradel, two great lawyers. I can't wait to see that on Wednesday as well. So make sure, am I streaming the Turtle Boy hearing? If I can, if it's available anywhere. And if it's not, we may have to replay it later. I'm pretty sure that, Canton Community Television will get a copy of it. But that's what we should all be hitting up is Canton Community Television, our guy over there. We love them. Just to make sure that they're going to be covering that and streaming it, because we want to see the Turtle Boy. There's going to be Karen Reed, obviously, on Wednesday as well. So there's going to be some competition on coverage. I think the networks are probably going to go with Karen Reed if that's happening on Wednesday at the same time. So hopefully Canton Community Television gets the video and we could stream it, whether live or later, because I really want to see Bettero and Bradel in court for Turtle Boy on Wednesday. That's going to be huge. It's going to be a huge week. And if you haven't, go back a few episodes. I just interviewed Aiden Carney. That was a great interview he gave us the other night. And it's all about his motion to dismiss. He goes through it. He breaks it down. He did a phenomenal job. I had such a good time interviewing him the other night. I'm looking forward to doing more interviews with Aiden. He is phenomenal. He's a great guest, great show, great host. I'm looking forward to this week. Tell him, amped up. Yeah, Turtle Boy is innocent. That's right. So thank you all. And you know what? I should check the super chats. Think I did see one come in. I want to make sure I thank everybody. Yes, Paula. Paula sent $20. She says, put this towards stamps to send out stickers. Thank you so much, Paula. And maybe print up some more. I think we're gonna need more. Because I've only gotten halfway through addressing and the stickers are getting low. Melanie R sent $25 tonight too as well. Thank you so much, Melanie R on Venmo. And I just want to check one more. And Mark just said $5 and he said, check out hankbrennan.com. Let's bring it up now. Is that safe for work or is that, I'm gonna bring it up. Since you said $5 and you asked me to check it out, I don't want to forget this. Let's check it out right now. Hank Brennan. Let's see what's on there. hankbrennan.com. Oh, look at that. If you do hankbrennan.com, it goes to the Karen Reed Defense Fund. I love it. I love that. That's awesome. Great job, Mark. hankbrennan.com leads to the Karen Reed Defense Fund. I love it. That's amazing. Great work. I love this community. All right. Have a great night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow at 6 p.m., hopefully, with a state senator, with Brian from LTL, and retired state trooper, Massachusetts State Trooper Todd McGee. Looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing you all there. Thank you all for watching today and supporting us. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great rest of your weekend.